indeed. Peace and love and beautiful, bountiful like this beautiful morning, man. Just out here early vibes. Nothing too major, nothing too long. Just wanted to pass on through, add on, man. Just positivity. Just encouraging you this day to spend your time in yourself as you continue to move throughout this world, man. Many of us rising up, going into our work worlds, going into our helping ciphers, adding on to this universe where we do, how we do. In the process, bring your fullest self to the presence, man, to the forefront, to the front lines, man. Meaning, live from your heart and be yourself. Live from your soul and speak your heart. Be in the moment. Be present in the moment at all times. Each moment. It's very precious. Very precious. Allow the things to arise from your natural state of awareness. In your natural state. Just be at peace, man. Grounding the self before you enter the world by way of either meditations or prayers or just silent self-time or in reflection. But readying yourself and being with yourself before you step out in the world and engage in the world with everyone else that would be at their optimum frequency in engagement, optimum frequency of interaction, optimum frequency of self. And in this optimum frequency of self, sitting in the self, residing in the self, naturally, breathing in peace, naturally in the self, sitting still, naturally in the self. Natural inclinations will arise, natural awarenesses will arise, natural truths will arise and present themselves from within, allowing your heart to filter out the madness, the chaos, the discords. Let your spirit be the anchoring pole, the anchoring tune, the tuning fork. Your highest self. Peace, love unconditionally. Acceptance and forgiveness. As we engage into this world, keeping these principles and these truths in mind. Taking the time to slow situations down, slow actions down, slow thought down, slow things down when it's moving too fast. Or it's hard to get a clear vision, clear perspective. Groundation. Be patient with yourself this day. Be patient with yourself. Take your time and go slow. Phone had died outside for a quick second, man. So I had to jump back inside, recharge real quick. But pristine cognition. Pristine cognition, man. Pristine cognition. Pristine cognition. Pure state, uncorrupted knowingness. The pure state of knowing, uncorrupted knowingness. Just like the nucleus of the sun, which is itself naturally originating, be certain that pristine cognition, naturally originating, is primordially radiant, being the first, the original, naturally radiant. Be certain that pristine cognition, pure state, uncorrupted knowingness, which naturally originates, is naturally originating and naturally radiating, naturally operating, naturally showing itself inside of your own mind, the nature of all things. Pristine cognition, this is that pure state of awareness. Not diluted, not tampered with, not high, not sedated, but just clear, in the now, purely in the now. Removing all emotionalism, removing even the logic aspect, but sitting there and being there. Sitting there and being there with it. The thought, the idea, the action. Whatever the moment calls. For the action and the actor are inseparable. The action and the actor, inseparable. One is the expression of the other. Just like the nucleus of the sun, which is itself naturally originating. Look at your own mind to see whether it is like that or not. Just like the nucleus of the sun, which is itself naturally originating, naturally shining, naturally vibrant, naturally putting itself out there, lighting up the world. Look at your own mind and see whether it's like that or not. Be certain that this awareness, which is pristine cognition, is uninterrupted, like the coursing central torrent of a river, which flows unceasingly. Look at your own mind to see whether it is like that or not. Constantly flowing, rushing on through, non-stop awareness. Pristine awareness. The pure state of awareness. This is what we strive for. This is what the meditation, this is what the breathing, this is what the clarity, this is what the groundation, this is what the nature walks, this is what all of these free in the mind conversations are all about. Returning to our essence. Pristine cognition. Natural state of awareness. The naturally arising of everything. The natural understanding of things and your relationship with them. Pristine cognition. So one should observe one's own mind. One should observe one's own mind, looking into its nature, the nature of your own mind, again and again, and still yet again. But this is one thing I wanted to share, because we're talking about slowing it down. We're talking about going through our days, moving forward, progressing through life, and taking our time with ourselves to be our truest self each moment. Not looking to the future, not thinking of the past, but being in the present. Not looking to the future with anticipation. Not looking to the past with regret and remorse. But simply being in the now. In our pure state of beingness, peace. Taking a moment to reflect before we respond. Taking a moment to reflect before we act or react. Taking a moment to process before we engage. So a person asks you a question. Take a breath and then we answer and respond. Taking that moment to breathe, to process, just one breath is all it takes to process before you respond. You will notice how accurate your response is, how full your response will be, how full of your heart awareness potential, how accurate your words you use will be, how conscious you'll be in that engagement. Taking a breath before responding, taking a breath before reacting, taking a breath before the action heightens the action, ensures you're invested in the action, that you are there consciously in that moment, and you'll carry out from your higher self, your highest place in that moment. Upon further reflection, you'll realize another higher step to take, but you will not be reacting or simply just responding. But now you're going to be coming from yourself after a process, and you will be acting as opposed to reacting. Engaging, shifting, altering. It says to be one. Abandon your notions of the past without attributing a temporal sequence. A, B, C, D, E, F, leading us to G. Abandon your notions of the past without attributing a temporal sequence, momentarily sequence. Cut off your mental associations regarding the future without anticipation. Rest in a spacious modality without clinging to the thoughts of the present, being in the moment. Do not meditate at all, since there is nothing upon which to meditate. Instead, revelation will come through undistracted mindfulness. Revelation will come through undistracted mindfulness. It will present itself. Intrinsic awareness, single-minded, naturally originating pristine cognition. There is no duality between the object viewed and the observer. Without focusing on the view, search for the observer. None will be found. Since there is no object at all to be observed, And since one has not fallen into a primordial vacuous emptiness, space, a vacuum of space, the lucid awareness, which is now present, is itself the view of the great perfection. The lucid awareness, which is now present, is itself the view of great perfection, since there is no object to be observed. There is no duality between the object of meditation and the meditator. There is no duality between the object of meditation and the meditator. Without meditating on the object of meditation, search for the meditator. Without meditating on the object of meditation, search for the meditator. Though one searches for this meditator, none will be found. There is no duality between action and the actor. Without focusing on the action, search for the actor. None will be found. Without focusing on the action, find the actor. None will be found. The physical being, the object, exists simply because of the subject, the spirit, the beingness, this pristine consciousness, the mind. All things are mental, fragmented into this creation, so-called indivisible duals, indivisible duals, inseparable multiplicities. Therefore, these things must take place to unfold the experience of life. These things must be to have the experience, but yet and still the experience is merely only a process of beingness. But the beingness is always there. But to have that experience, it must have an object to experience it by way of, through, as, thus the human being, the physical body, all the tools of it, the taste, the senses, even the thought processes, all of which arise from mind. The thoughts that we possess, the thoughts that we think, the desires and the actions, all of which arise from mind. The colors of life arise from mind. All arises from mind, therefore all is mental. And if all is mental and all is universal, meaning all existing in all things, the creator, the source, universe, life, whether seen or unseen, whether here nor there, if it is what it simply is, if it is what it simply is, but more than what it appears to be, can we really truly make any claim to any title on anything? Or would it do us much better just to observe and experience the thing, not judging, not titling it, not labeling it or anything for what it is, but experiencing the thing totally, fully, wholeheartedly, consciously, and aware, paying attention to one's internal landscape, the heart, the mind, the spirit, how one feels. Is this helpful? Is this disintegrating? Does this hurt? Does it break me down? Does it tear me apart? Does it annihilate myself? Or does it add on to the experience of self? Does it beautify the self? Does it color this picture in? Based off what you're trying to create, you're going to add on, or you're going to remove that from your atmosphere, your universe, your world. But taking that breath, taking that moment to breathe and to reflect, allows us to see the connection of breath and mind. And we see in that breath and taking that breath and slowing this thing down, that connection of breath and mind begin to slow the frequencies of the mind down, allowing things and visions and portals to open up within. For in previous builds, we talked about the power of the mind and how portals are opened up through breath control. This is the science of meditation. Transcendental meditation, slowing the breath on down, allowing the mind to escape beyond the body, beyond the circumstances, beyond the situations, and looking at them from a higher view, without the feeling of the stress, the intensities, which intoxicate the body, causing all types of ills and diseases, misfortune, diseases of the mind, body, emotions. So slowing the breath down helps to stabilize the mind. Slower the breath down helps to clear the mind, purify the being. Breath control. But in this practice, controlling our breathing, we begin to see the body as merely a tool of the spirit. When utilized just correctly, it opens up the mysteries, the mind, the spirit, the secrets thereof, and contained within. This is how many of these scriptures are written, through deep meditations. There is no duality between action and the actor. Without focusing on the action, search for the actor, none will be found. At an instant, at that very moment, one will encounter the innermost boundary of conduct. Since from the beginning there has been no conduct to undertake, and since one has not fallen under the sway of bewildering propensities, meaning confused with conflicting situations, propensities, innate inclinations of confused and conflicting situations. Since one has not fallen under the sway of innate inclinations of confused and conflicting situations, since we have not fell victim to this, the lucid, uncontrived, easily understood, clear-minded, and unforced awareness which is now present is itself pure conduct. Without having to be contrived, forced, modified, accepted, or rejected. It simply is. There is no duality between purity and impurity. There is no duality between the object of attainment and the attainer. Without focusing on the attainment of the result, search for the attainer. None will be found. At that very moment, one will encounter the innermost boundary of the result. Since whatever the projected result, there is nothing to be attained. And since one has not fallen under the sway of rejection and acceptance, or hope and doubt, the naturally radiant awareness which is now spontaneously present is the fully manifestation, realization of the three Buddha bodies within oneself. This is the middle way. If one understands this truth, one reaches perfection in all respects. This is the Great Seal. Not recognizing this, one does indeed search for the mind externally. We'll end on this note. It says, though one were to scan the entire external universe, searching for the nature of mind, one would not find it. Though one were to scan the entire external universe, searching for the nature of mind, the natural mind, the nature of mind, one will not find it. It says Buddhahood cannot be attained other than through the mind. Buddhahood cannot be attained other than through the mind. Not recognizing this, one does indeed search for the mind externally, Yet, how can one find one's own mind when one looks for it elsewhere? This is like a fool, for example, who, when finding himself amidst a crowd of people, becomes mesmerized by the spectacle of the crowd and forgets himself. Then, no longer recognizing who he is, starts searching elsewhere for himself, continuously mistaking others for himself. Buddha cannot be attained other than through one's own mind. And it has to happen through one naturally, not through the programming, not through the holding on to beliefs and structures or continuing rituals and traditions, but through total liberation of the spirit, of the self, allowing the self to tell you what it is, allowing the spirit to show and prove what it is, being one with it and breathing. Being one with it and breathing. There's no separation between the act and the actor. No separation between the meditator and the object of meditation. No separation between the attainer and that which one attains. Buddha cannot be understood and Buddhahood cannot be attained other than through the mind. Though one were to scan the entire external universe to find the nature of the mind, one will not find it. Not recognizing this, one does indeed search for the mind externally, yet how could one find one's own mind when one looks for it elsewhere? This is like a fool, when finding himself amidst a crowd, becomes mesmerized by the spectacle of the crowd and forgets himself. Then, no longer recognizing who he is, starts searching elsewhere for himself, continuously mistaking others for himself. This is the plane of today. Everyone trying to be someone else, no originality. Everyone sounding the same. Everyone reporting on the same topics. You'll find the same topic repeated 5 times over, 100 times over, with 100 different perspectives, all in the same day, all uploaded, probably within a 10 minutes gap between each other, but definitely within the 24-hour cycle, all uploaded, same video over and over, different perspective, different ideals, all the same. Where's the origination? Originality. Where's the heart of that thing? Take a moment and breathe before you respond. Taking that moment to breathe before we respond helps us to center in ourselves and making sure that our response is coming from ourselves. Honestly. Not just a program response, and that's just an automatic response answer, not just one to look like an automatic email when you're out of the office and it just responds right away. Not one of those. Not just a thought that when a person says, hey, how you doing? You respond with, hey, how you doing? Without answering the question. Not one of those. Taking the moment to breathe and then responding makes your reaction and interaction real. Fully investing yourself into that. One breath is all it took to give a life. One breath. Taking that first breath, baby, starts to cry, takes its first oxygen in and equates it with life, this physical world out here. And it begins to holler and scream because of the pain has already begun. The disconnect from the source is already initiated. And the journey to return back home is already underway. We're only getting closer from our birth to our death, to our end. You never know when that comes. We never know when it is. And even in that ending, there is no end. There is simply a transformation, a transference of energy, transfiguration on the mound, or what have you. But energy is neither created nor destroyed, only transferred or transformed. So it goes somewhere, beyond our reasoning, beyond our understanding, beyond our awareness level, But it goes somewhere. Continues on. Continues on. While we're here, let's live our most honest self, our most engaging life, our most honest connections with this world, with this life, with our loved ones, with the strangers, with the people that we see through life every day. This is life. Take a moment to breathe before you respond. Just practice this just today. I guarantee you, you'll see way more in it than anything I've just said. And then you'll see in it all the things we've just said, all through time, through practice, through awareness. As our awareness expands, as our practice gets stronger and continues to be more continuous, eventually our awareness and our mind continues to flow uninterrupted like that river, torrent, undistracted. And when we find it off track, we put it right back on. It's not hard. Simply breathe. Let go and breathe. This is life. This is the life we live. So I didn't intend on going this long. Just wanted to do a nice quick build talking about life, adding on real quickly as I come back in from this morning walk and meditation out there on the hills. Felt amazing, man, seeing that sunrise out there and being out there in it. Spring is here. It's going to be a wonderful summer, y'all. Good things to come. Wish you nothing but peace, prosperity, and abundance this beautiful day and every. Blessings, love, and light to you. Thank you again for tuning in. Peace.